This podcast is brought to you by the Anchor app. The Anchor app is what I use for recording, editing, and releasing my podcasts. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcasts right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be released on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and so many other platforms. You can even make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership if you want some extra dollars in your pocket. And it's got everything you need to get started today. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And happy casting. Record. All right. I have a very special guest. A man who I call my brother, my friend, Jake Harkoff.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah. It's Saturday, and we're getting at it early.
Yeah. Late for us.
Yeah, late. Yeah. Well, we've been doing this thing called the 5 a.m. Club, and it's where you get up at 5 a.m. and you go about your day. How's that working for you?
To be honest with you, it's probably not working very well. I do set my alarm for 5 a.m. every day, and I've been getting up. I'm the type of person who strive for perfection. So if I miss a day, I miss a couple of days, then I would say I'm not doing very well, but I have started it. I do have a routine that I go through, and but obviously I'd like it to be better. I'd like to be more consistent with it.
Well, and I know you quite well. How long have I known you for? 6?
I think we met in
2014,
something like that.
Yeah. I'm glad I kept you around. We've developed some bad habits together, and picked up better ones.
Yeah.
So Jake is a life enthusiast, right? Not just fitness, not just diet, not just meditation, but just everything, right? You want to take in everything. How would you best describe sort of your philosophy for life?
That's high praise. That's probably, I don't think too many people would describe me that way, so I appreciate that. I've recently just tried to make some changes for the better. I've gone through a lot in the last year. I've had a pretty traumatic last 8 months with family members passing away, relationships ending, things like that. So it's been a lot to handle, and I've just, even when I lost a family member, I think to myself, I'm like, I can handle this one or two ways. Like, you can either let it destroy me, or I just keep moving on. And it was interesting. Like around the time that I lost my dad, I was watching TV, and it was kind of during the anniversary of 9/11. And they said on the TV that 25,000 people, maybe not 25,000, 2,500 people, had lost their lives since in the last 10 years from cancer, like first responders and stuff
that
like
were
that.
That
were there.
Debris,
And I'm just thinking to myself, I was like, I'm sunk, I'm destroyed right now because I just lost my dad. Yet that's 2,500 dads, sisters, brothers, sons, that those families all have to keep moving forward. If you had 2,500 people and you'd say, like, you guys lost a family member and you guys take the time and society, like that 2,500 people, that's a lot of infrastructure that would collapse. You know what I mean? So I kind of, it's probably not the healthiest way of thinking of it, but I thought of it like this is, life is going to go on eventually.
It sounds like,
and you either are going to let it destroy you for what's the difference between pushing forward and continuing on now, or pushing forward and continuing on 2 weeks from now or a month from now? So that mentality, some people call it strength, but I just called it pushing forward, or whatever you want to call it.
What I'm hearing, and obviously correct me if I'm wrong because I'm not you. And part of my podcast is saying, I'll go off on these rants and I'll have these expositions.
I've already gone off track big time.
No. And then, but that's the point of this, right? And we all bring it back. So what I say is I'm probably wrong about everything, but this is what I think. This is what I feel.
Yeah.
And you go with that.
Exactly.
Right? And what I'm kind of hearing you say is that this thing happened to you. Losing your dad was incredibly traumatic. Yeah. That was incredibly traumatic for you. And then you see that other people are going through this.
Yeah.
And it sounds like by you seeing that, you realize you're not alone.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think that that's a powerful takeaway.
Yeah.
Right? Because when we think that we're the only ones, we become, in our minds, isolated. Right? Mm-hmm. And disconnected from others.
Yeah.
And we say things like, they don't understand.
Yeah.
But when we're around people that have had experiences, like my father passed away when I was 14, right? And dude, I felt like I was pretty alone. Like nobody else had parents that had passed away, right? At least from my experiences. Yeah. And your experiences shape your thoughts, right? So my reality is that nobody else has lost a parent. Mm-hmm. And I remember the first person I told, because he was like, where have you been? Because I was in the hospital helping my dad. I'm like, well, my dad was really sick and he passed away. And you know what this kid said to me? He said, I don't believe you. You're making that up.
What?
Yeah. And then he went, it's kind of a funny story. Yeah. And then he went around and he told everybody that I was just making shit up to get attention. So years later, we graduated and I saw this guy at a party. And, this is at a time when I was starting to develop some pretty poor habits. Yeah. Right? Alcohol.
You suckered him, didn't you?
Yeah. So he was there. He was there. And it was this house party. And I kind of cordoned him off. Kind of like, have you ever seen a sheepdog herding like a sheep?
I've had sheepdogs my whole life.
Yeah. And then they just kind of, they're like, but you don't know. But you're like, this mother, he's hurting me. Yeah. So I get him into a room and I get him into a corner. And I'm like, hey man, what's going on? And he's like, hey. I'm like, do you remember what you said to me?
Oh man.
In grade 9? And he's like, no. I'm like, you said to me that I made up my dad dying. And I was slowly getting bigger, right? And he was getting smaller and he was getting backed off in a corner. Before I knew it, I was standing on a couch and he was in a corner and I was like yelling at him and everybody was like, whoa. And that's when I knew I needed to work on myself.
Yeah,
right? And it was like, the guy was scared.
Yeah.
And this is the interesting part for me. He had no recollection. He said that. And I genuinely believe to this day that, because we have no idea how powerful our words are to someone else.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's an amazing point.
Right?
I honestly, if we get into it eventually, but I even think with my industry in the fitness world, I think the stuff that we say to our clients without even thinking about it, we set people up. We give learned helplessness to all these people. We don't empower people around us. We make them more and more helpless. I don't know if you ever heard of there was a study, I might get this wrong, I might butcher it, but it was about dogs and shock therapy. You heard about this one?
No. So
there's these dogs and they're in a pen and they got shocked and the floor was electric. And they get shocked on the floor. And some of these dogs, there's a button in there, and they push the button, the shocks would stop. It wasn't a button, but it was like if they stepped on this area, the shocks would stop.
The dogs.
Yeah, the dogs, it would stop.
Right.
But some dogs didn't have that button in there.
Yeah.
And those dogs just accepted the shock. So then they took them out of the pen and had them in another surface where there was a small barrier. And the part where they were was a shock.
Yeah.
But if they stepped over the barrier, they wouldn't get shocked anymore. And the dogs that were taught how to hit the button to stop the shock, when they got shocked in the second experiment, they would step over the barrier and not be shocked.
Yeah.
But the dogs who never had the opportunity to do that, where the person had to stop the shock, they just laid there and accepted it. And I could be butchering this story, the study.
Yeah.
I implore your listeners to look it up and unlearn helplessness, but it's a pretty famous one. And
wow.
And to me, I think of it like with our words, we can either empower people or we can cause them to be more helpless. So that's something that I'm trying to get better at myself when I'm speaking with people. It's everything. It's fitness, it's health, chronic pain, all of these things. I think that we cause, just by our words, we allow people to be more helpless and experience more pain. So I think they have a greater power than we think they do.
Well, I really like what you're saying
about
this. And like, I find when they do things like this, like these experiments on dogs, like that's so horrific. Like I would have PTSD, but anyways, you mentioned that there's a fine line between empowering somebody and making that person helpless.
Yeah.
Right. And, I work with a lot of parents and this is the most common thing that I'm seeing is that parents are making kids become helpless adults.
For sure.
They are what I call, I don't call this, I've heard this phrase is snow plowing. Mm-hmm. They just shovel all their problems away. Yeah. Right? They have test anxiety. Oh, you're not going to write the test. Yeah. We're not helping our kids. We're not making them resilient.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Right?
I think like...
We're not empowering them.
Yeah, and even like if you stop saying empowering and making people feel more helpless, it's like just learning how to adapt and to handle traumatic experiences. Like I'll be honest with you, like I'm 30 years old almost this year. Yeah. And like I've never done anything for myself. I've never done my own taxes. Right. I've always had my parents doing them. I've never done these things that like some people should, because my parents have always done everything for me, and now I'm at a stage where it's like, where I've lost a parent and my relationship with the other parent is kind of deteriorated to a point where we're not in contact. And now I have to do all these things for myself. And it's like, oh, what do I do? You know what I mean? And now I'm trying to actively add these challenging things into my daily routine as part of my everyday, doing something hard every day. But it's almost like I felt like I wasn't set up to be an adult, because everything was always taken care of.
Learned helplessness.
You know what I mean? Learned helplessness.
Yeah. And when there's a problem, you go to the person. You just wait for the person to stop the shot.
Yeah. And waiting for someone else to take the pain away rather than dealing with the pain myself, which is kind of what that experiment is about. Yeah. And then, then I kind of, and another thought on this is that like now that I'm single again, I'm out of a relationship recently, is like I see people, I start talking to people, and I'm like, this person's never been through anything. Their whole life, they've never dealt with any sort of trauma or any sort of pain. When they experience a small thing, like, you like someone else's photo, that's like world ending to them. The smallest things. Yeah. But someone who's been through a lot in their life, they're so much more resilient. They know how to handle things. Yeah. Like if you ask me now, after what I've been through in the last 8 months, if, somebody said something to me now, or like, I don't know, I got a ticket or something where I had to pay a sum of money, I'd be like, oh, it's part of life. It's going to happen. Right. Cause I've dealt with all these things that are like,
this very is small in pales.
These are small fries compared to like the stuff that life.
Now hear me out here for a sec, because you can have two different ways of approaching this. Yeah. You can look at everything that's happened to you and go like, this is dramatic, interpretation, but why God, why? Yeah. Like, you are just a victim. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Or you can look at this, which sounds like this is what you're doing, and you can be a victor. So you can be a victim or you can be a victor. Right? That. So where's the divide there? How does one become, because they're so polarizing. Yeah. Right? Because you can't be anything else. You can't just be like, you can't be apathetic. Right? Yeah.
Honestly, I don't. I think if I knew, then I'd be in a better place than I am now. But like,
I'd say you're in a pretty,
I'm trying.
You're making yourself better. You're taking, you're taking ownership, and you're realizing that, I'm the only person that can make changes.
Yeah.
Right? I'm the only person that can, I can't expect this person to change. I can't make this person change, but I know I can change myself.
Really, you're the only one who has control over, like, you can't control anyone else.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, like, and you can really only steer your own ship.
Yes.
And everybody in this world, like it or not, is out to steer their own ship. And I've always said this because I've been around a lot of people. I mean, I've been told that I've been called a victim before, that I have that victim mentality in the past, and maybe I did. I'm trying to work on it now. Mm. But like, I've been around a lot of people who have that victim mentality, and I've always thought of it as like, they're like, oh, the world is everyone's out to get me. I don't think everyone's out to get you. I think everyone's out for themselves.
Yeah.
Like, if everyone is trying to focus on themselves and be healthy and safe, and everyone's out to get you. It's not that everyone's out to collectively get you.
Yeah.
It's that they're trying to get themselves. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. But are you saying that other people are like an obstacle?
I don't know. I don't think they're an obstacle at all. I'm just saying that, like, that mentality of where, like, everyone's out to get you is like it's not that everyone's out to get you. No one's. They don't have a Facebook group that everyone's in except for you.
You're not that special,
and they're like,
you're not that special, right? And if you think that you walk into a room, and this was illustrated in a book I read, I think it's like The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Mm-hmm. If you walk into a room and you think that everybody doesn't like you, that's a pretty egotistical thought.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I walk into a room and, like, I've been around people that I'm like, well, I don't think they like me. Mm-hmm. There's no way that everybody in a room doesn't like you. You know what I mean? The chances are very slim, unless you're at like a, what are those called when they do the group?
Oh, the roast?
Even that.
Roast, they like you.
Yeah. And that's actually interesting, is because I know I'm a very sensitive person. Uh-huh. And I've always struggled with, when people make fun of me and stuff.
Yeah.
But part of a good friend is that they can roast each other.
Yeah.
And that it's not meant to cause harm.
I mean, we used to say in hockey, like, we'd be given that we'd be roasting the guy or, like, chirping him, as we said. And, the guy'd be like, oh, like, you guys always pick on me. It's like, if we didn't pick on you, that would mean that we didn't like you.
That's yeah.
Which is, like, that's a really awful way of going about building a relationship with somebody. Yeah. But, like, we remind people that a lot. Even people would remind me about that. And I think about that, like, well, if he wasn't talking to me at all, that would probably mean he didn't like me. Yeah. But the fact that he is talking to me and he's giving me a hard time means that he likes me.
Yes.
And, like, I still kind of think that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's an interesting, and that's probably a good mindset to have, right? Because then you don't take things so personally.
Yeah. And I mean, I'll tell you about a book that I read. I put together this list of books.
Yeah.
And I sent it to everybody for Christmas. And I said, if you guys want to give me something for Christmas,
give me these books.
These are the books that I want to read. And I actually got a couple that weren't on the list.
Yeah.
And call it fate, call it whatever you want to call it. But one of the books actually has changed my life. The 4 Agreements.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I have that book. It's an older book. It's ancient Toltec wisdom.
Yeah. Toltec is Mexican.
Yeah.
Or Native Americans.
Native Mexicans.
Yeah.
And
Native Indigenous. Yeah.
Yeah, and they Miguel Angel Ruiz, I think his name is.
Yeah.
Anyways, he speaks about 4 wisdoms, 4 agreements that every human should make, and if we all make these agreements, we can create our heaven on earth. Right? Regardless of afterlife, they believe in afterlife, but regardless of what you believe, is you want to be able to create your own heaven on earth, and by following these 4 agreements, that can be achievable. The first one is always have impeccable word. And impeccable, if you break down impeccable, it's like without sin.
Right.
Words without
honest
sin.
word.
Honest word.
Yeah.
And it's like everything. It's how you talk. Like it's like the beauty of your word. Like if I swear, if I say, swear words, that's ugly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's ugly.
It sounds
it's
like
ugly. So it's having impeccable word. And it's something that, I don't always do it, but I'm working on trying to, call it silly, but it's something that's making me better. The second agreement is I should say that it's not just impeccable word with other people, it's impeccable word with yourself.
Right, because the language we use in our minds
is just as important.
I think it's
probably more.
That's where it stems from. Your self-talk dictates all of your interactions.
Well, how many people do you talk to a day? You talk with yourself.
If you're hard on yourself, right?
Yeah.
You will be hard on others. So impeccable word, part about being more gentler to ourselves in our self-talk.
Exactly. So that's the first one. The second one is, I might have these orders wrong, but the second one is don't make assumptions. So like, and you might think like, don't make assumptions like, I assumed that you were going to like get milk tonight or you're going to get the groceries.
Yeah.
There's that, but it's also don't make assumptions about other humans. Don't make assumptions about yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, don't assume that you can't do something that you want to do. Don't assume that it's too hard. Don't assume that you don't have the ability to do something. And also don't assume of other people. You see somebody who's down on their luck. You see somebody who's, not wearing nice clothes. Don't assume about them,
Yeah.
And, I've tried to do this, and I've made some good relationships. I've just been happier by not seeing somebody and assuming, that they don't know what they're doing or whatever it is, trying to find the best in other people. But also, when I'm in a conversation with somebody, I don't assume things. If something is if someone says something that bothers me, then I'll ask them about it. And it will
instead of just dwelling on it.
Instead of dwelling on it.
Let it out.
You
must feel a lot lighter too.
Like, for instance, I was recently out with somebody and they were on their phone the whole time. And I was like, in my head, I'm assuming this person isn't interested in me at all.
Yeah.
Like, this person.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, I'm like,
their body language, everything is
first of all, this is extremely disrespectful. And I was ready to say something. But before I assumed that they were disrespecting me.
Yeah.
I asked, I was like, who are you on the phone with? Is there something up? And they're able to tell me that I'm talking to my sister and trying to name a child. They're in a different part of the world. So that person, we can only talk during these times. It's still, I would say that probably I would like the person to not be on their phone the entire time. Or tell me that.
Yeah.
But I could have assumed it is that they were directly disrespecting me. Or I could be like, hey, look, now we know what you were doing. And that means, and I think that's beautiful, is that you're able to have these deeper conversations.
And you know what? You know what else I think is very important is this concept of people being frozen in time. Their characters being frozen in time. Who I was when I was 26 is not who I am today. They're two completely different people. I told my partner Jen, she's helped shape me into this better person. She's helped facilitate that change. But since we've dated, she's dated two different people. She's dated Robbie, and now she's dating Robert, right? But literally two different epochs in personality.
Yeah.
If I'm saying that word.
No, it's.
But for other people, they'll only know that version of you, and that's who they think you are the rest of your life.
Yeah, man.
Because that's just based on their experiences.
Yeah.
And you can't shake them for thinking that way.
Yeah.
But then when they see you again, and you're not like a drunken idiot,
yeah,
they're kind of like, who is this person? Is this really real? And I think that I don't know about you.
Don't make assumptions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the second one. The third one if this book doesn't sell 1 million copies after this, like
Yeah.
the third one,
and it's like $10.
Yeah, it's totally worth it,
Yeah.
and it's a quick read too.
Yeah.
But the third one is don't take things personally, and this is another one that is hard for me, but it was one of the ones that has made things made my life a lot better. Is that understanding that, like, you know, what people say to you, how they treat you is a reflection of themselves. They're projecting their own feelings on you. If someone's yelling at you, they're mad.
Yeah.
They're yelling at you because they're mad.
Yeah.
Not because, or they're crying, they're sad. That's a reflection of their feelings. And if they insult you, they have this hurt and they're trying to put it on you. And if you let it happen, if you let that person, that insult, whatever they say, come into you, then you get that pain.
Yes.
You take things personally. You know what I mean? Rejection. I've been trying to nail down what has driven me into fitness, being so neurotic about diet and training and things like that I've always been a part of. And if I go back in time and I go to the really deep, you know, even with when I was younger, we talked about our past, promiscuity, things like that, drugs, alcohol, whatever escapes. They were all to try to fit in, you know what I mean? To avoid rejection. Or like if you go in your dressing room, look who I hooked up with. You know, look at all these people I've, slept with or whatever it is. Yeah. It's all to try to get acceptance. Sure. You know what I mean? And I feel like, fitness wise, if I have a good body, I'll be accepted. If I diet, I'll be accepted. If I do all the stuff that I do now for health is like to be accepted because I want people to accept me as an expert or whatever, So it's understanding like taking things personally. When someone rejects you, it's not a reflection of yourself. It's a reflection of them. It's a reflection of their what they value, not a reflection of what you right.
And I like what you're saying because you mentioned acceptance. Yeah. And as we know, we are social creatures, and I think that has to tie into our evolutionary roots. Yeah. If we weren't accepted by the tribal group, we're kicked out. Yeah. Right?
We're dead.
We're dead. Yeah. It's dark out there. There's no Wi-Fi. You know what I mean? I don't know how to make a spear. Yeah. Right? We have to bond together. And I think that our fear of rejection ties into our fear of survival.
Yeah, could be.
Right? 100%. Like in our brain, like we can say, I don't need them. But really, there is the primitive part of our brain. Yeah. What's the
limbic?
The limbic system.
Limbic's your reptilian brain.
Reptilian brain.
Your 4Fs.
Exactly. Yeah. If I am kicked out of this group, I am on my own and I will perish. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And that's why I think, and I'm going off on a tangent here, but social media is such a problem because we feel like we got to be part of that tribe. Yeah. Right? And for so many people, maybe that's really what the deep.
Yeah. And even social media, with the industry that I'm in, I feel like I have to create this social media persona to sell myself to and my cousin who actually has been helping me kind of get things going, building a website and such, he said something that really resonated with me is people want authenticity and it sounds obvious, but my biggest problem with creating a social media platform, whatever you want to call it, persona, was that I didn't know how to do it like everybody else. And I was trying to create, and everyone says, oh, well, look at the people who you think have good social media accounts and try to do what they do. But that might not be authentic to you. What if crappy Instagram videos or whatever it is, that's you? Or the food posts, that's you. That's what you do. So, and I think that's something that I'm trying to take. Oops, sorry. That's something that I'm trying to take into this now is that I want to be authentic with myself and with the people who I come into contact to.
Well, so in our last podcast, we talked about the difference between being relevant and being real, and what's more important.
Yeah.
being real.
Yeah.
Right? But social media, there's so much pressure on us to be relevant.
Yeah.
How can we feel good about ourselves when we're pretending to be somebody who we aren't?
Yeah.
Like some of these fitness people, I bet they wake up and they're like, oh my gosh, I need to have 4 cups of coffee before I can be that person again.
Yeah.
Because I see these people and they're like, hey everybody, let's go. And you're like, I don't know, like, we all have bad days.
Yeah.
We should be honest about our bad days.
Yeah.
And turn,
This is something that I'm trying to learn too, is that like another thing, like I tell people to check out is if you haven't watched Fergus Connolly's TED Talk on sheepdogs.
I did. I
Like,
did watch that.
my goodness, like that
guy was being vulnerable.
Yeah, and if you guys don't know the
Which is
story,
real.
Fergus Connolly was the head strength conditioning coach of, NFL teams, college teams like Michigan and this 49ers and some Premier League rugby teams, because I think he's an Irish guy. Anyways, he he lost everything, lost his job at Michigan, got a DUI, got an assault charge, kind of like a series of unfortunate events, but ended up with rock bottom, right?
Yeah.
And he's the guy who is supposed to be the leader.
He's supposed to be perfect.
He's supposed to be
Without
perfect,
fail.
Without fail. And he talks about, the dark times in his life where he was watching like TMZ, hoping that somebody like got a DUI or crashed his truck or did something so that his name wouldn't be in the media anymore.
Yeah.
And he was praying for someone else's fail to take the emphasis off him. And he was giving a talk to these military guys and Marines or leaders in the military, and they said, they start talking to him about sheepdogs, and sheepdogs are they protect the sheep from the wolves. Mm-hmm. There's 2 types of people. There's sheep.
Yeah.
That's your mom, you're the old lady that you're helping. It's the your brother, your sister. They're not that a sheep's a bad thing. It's not a negative term. No. They're sheep, and then they're sheepdogs. Sheepdogs protect the sheep. They're the ones who show up. They're the trainers, the doctors, the teachers, the mentors. They're the person who shows up for the sheep.
Yes.
Right? But that person often feels like that sheepdog never actually has anyone that they feel like they're the strong ones, so they can't go to other people. And what the officer said to him was that sometimes sheepdog needs sheepdogs. Okay,
so hear me out, because that was a really good summary of that.
Yeah.
And it makes me think that sheepdogs are not so far from wolves.
It's true.
If they don't,
that's interesting. I never thought of it that way.
If they don't take care of themselves, they become wolves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Because I do think that I agree that there's these 3 different kind of human types.
Yeah.
There's the sheepdogs, the protectors.
Yeah.
And you know what? Sheepdogs oftentimes really annoy sheep.
Yeah.
Because they're like, dude, can you stop nipping at me? You know what I mean?
I'm just trying to have some grass, man.
Can you not?
Yeah.
Because sheepdogs are doing their thing, and people look at that and they're like, what's up with that guy, man?
Totally.
Right? And then you got those wolves that the sheep can't see, but they're out there, right? But I think that all 3 of those things are in us.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Right?
You switch
we see something on, the social media that we don't like. We become the wolf.
Yeah.
Clickety clack. We say some negative thing. We send it on.
Yeah.
We forget about it. That person goes on there, reads it, ruins their day.
Yeah.
Right?
I still don't know how people have to, how you have time to actually reply to, like if I see something I don't like, I just keep swiping. I just go to,
I try not to even look at that stuff.
No, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Though?
Not that I have much to look at. Yeah.
I watch a Instagram video and I'm just thinking about fitness or whatever, and I see all the comments. People are like, "Oh, don't you think blah blah blah?" And they basically tear apart this video, and I'm just thinking, I'm like,
where's your video?
One, yeah, it's the idea of the people who insult things. They insult things because they're not doing them. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
they're below that person, so they're Someone who's above you never insults someone who's below you. It's always someone below you who insults someone higher than you.
I want to echo back to what you said previously. I don't even know if we recorded this or if this was in our talk before. But the thing that we hate the most in another person is within ourselves.
Yeah, it's a reflection of yourself. Rejection,
100%.
Insults.
Like my friend, I have I know this person, and they're quite like, they're very loud. Mm-hmm. They're very obnoxious.
And this person is Rob Grant. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Does it not sound like I'm describing myself?
Yeah.
Right? And this is a person, oh my God, I can't take that person.
Yeah.
And then I realize, oh my God, all those things in that person are in me.
Yeah.
They're
the things you hate about yourself. Interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
So before we say, I hate that person, maybe stop and look to see that we are more alike than we are dissimilar.
Yeah.
And that goes for culture, religion, sexuality, gender. We're more alike than we are different.
And honestly, I feel like that might even have been a point in the book that I just can't think of right now, is that the things that you don't like in somebody else or the things you don't like about yourself, it's a reflection of yourself, not a reflection. I think that's kind of the point.
Look, we are a mirror's reflection.
Yeah.
And we kind of I believe in energy and being around people. And I honestly think that the people that take up mind space, they occupy space in your head. There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
And if you stop foaming at the mouth, you might learn something from it.
Definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we've been going off on...
So let me get to the last point.
The
last of the agreements is do your best.
Wow.
And it's do your best.
Don't try your best.
No, do your best.
Do your best.
And it's do your best to abide by the other 3 agreements. Meaning... You're not going to always be... You're not going to have... Yeah.
Perfection.
If you focus on perfecting all 4 of those, as soon as you fail... And I even use this when I'm talking with clients and stuff like that about diet and training and stuff like that, is if you try to be a perfectionist, then when you do fail, that's like the end of the world. You try to stick to one of these really strict diets, like this keto diet, and then you have a piece of cake, and then you're like, oh no, the diet's done. I'm going to have another piece of cake because the diet's done. Or I'll just give up, right? But if you focus on just trying to do your best, then when you do have that inevitable hiccup, it's not going to end you. It's not going to crush you.
So, I'll be honest, I'm a bit of a perfectionist. And
I think we all are, yeah.
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 And I think that that's our natural reaction. That's our natural state.
Yeah.
Right? So we need to almost recondition ourselves to that mindset, because my perfectionism, which is based, I think, out of rejection, right? That you don't want to be rejected, so you want to be perfect. If you're not perfect, you're going to get kicked out of the club.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
And I think that, in my experiences, and in a lot of talks I've had with a lot of other people, the biggest obstacle for men, I can't speak for women, but is a fear of rejection and overcoming that.
I think so too. So now I got a question for you.
Okay.
Not really a question, but more like your thoughts. I recently started freedom sessions. Yeah. And I know that you've been through it yourself.
Yeah.
And we've only had one session so far. But and I'm probably going to butcher this one too. But there's a story of Marley and Simon.
Okay.
And in the Bible, that is. And Marley was like the prostitute. She feared rejection. And she feared rejection, so the only way she felt accepted was by sleeping around. And eventually she started doing it for money, because that's what all men wanted her for.
Right.
And she sinned a lot for a lot of years. But because she wanted that acceptance, she wanted to be accepted by people.
Right.
And her thing was escape. So whether that was like, she wanted to escape her sin through sex or whatever. This is kind of the story they painted. Again, I'm probably butchering this. But either way, sinned for a long time, sinned a lot, and the bottom line of it was that rejection. She wanted to be accepted by the people. She wanted to be loved.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
And
then
what
was the...
Yeah.
What was the...
And then there's Simon, on the other hand. And Simon was born into nobility. he was a religious nobleman.
Yeah. He had everything.
Part of the club, and he focused on righteousness and being right, and the teaching and studying and the working hard.
Pious.
He is working hard to be like Christ, and his sin was actually the hard work and judgment, because that person's not as righteous as me, right? Or I'm more righteous than that person, and I'm going to keep studying, I'm going to keep doing this, I'm going to work hard. So other than escape, his was hard work. He dove into more, more and more stuff, always trying to get, better himself. Right. And he sinned for a shorter amount of time. And I guess the story is that they're having this dinner, and the people like Marley, they weren't allowed to eat at the table, or they didn't eat at the table, something like this. I don't know. I'm still, like I said, I'm still new to this. And Marley ran over to Christ and started kissing his feet and wiping his feet with her hair. And, Simon stood up and said, who is it? Who is this person approaching Christ and kissing his feet when she's not supposed to? And she's come from, he assumed, he judged her, and this prostitute, this sinner,
this bottom feeder,
this nobody is coming to God,
seeing this person as less than human.
Seeing less than human. And Jesus told the story about a person who who stole a little bit of money every day, or stole a lot of money once.
But in the end, it's the same amount.
It's the same amount. And through
cool.
Christ, they're not, it doesn't matter if you told little white lies or if you told a big lie.
Right. They all compound.
They're both.
Yeah.
They're
equivalent.
They're equivalent.
Yeah.
And they both take the same amount of sin. They take the same amount to absolve. You know what I mean? So just because she was a prostitute for a long time.
Yeah.
She loved Christ and accepted Christ, so she was forgiven. Where the guy who was higher than mighty, look at you, who are you? You not worthless.
Well, are you familiar with the term pious?
I've heard it. I'm not exactly.
So pious is a word for somebody who just really doesn't get it.
Okay.
They're so dogmatic in their beliefs that they don't see people as people.
So that's a good way of looking at it. So anyways, the whole point of me bringing this story up is that we were asked to do in Freedom Session, do you resonate more with Marley, or do you resonate more with Simon? Do you resonate with the person who escapes, whether that's sex, drugs, video games, whatever your vice is? Are you the escaper? Are you the person who's longing for acceptance and rejection, so you dislike yourself so much that you want this from somebody else? Or are you the person who, rather than escaping, you work harder?
Sure.
Okay. And when I had to answer my question in my group, I said to myself, well, what am I? Am I the suck?
I'm a bit of both.
In my 20s, I'd say, I was Marley. I'd go out trying to get the instant gratification of going home with a girl, or bringing a girl home. That was a thing, and or drinking or partaking in other negative substances, whatever you want to call it. It was an escape. Mm-hmm. It was, and the bottom line was my fear of rejection.
Yeah.
Right. And then you think of Simon, and this is where because of the industry I'm in and what I passion, I keep adding meditation. I add more meditation. I add more, studying, and more routine, more all these things that are meant to make me higher, higher and mighty. When you look at me, you're like, oh, this guy is the fitness guy. This is a guru.
I do kind of see you that way.
But then I think of it am I, are you too far the other way? Is it now another fear of rejection because I want you to accept me as an expert now? You see what I'm saying? It's they're both a fear of rejection.
What exactly? That's the root.
Even though they're different.
If you can overcome the fear of rejection,
you're right where you need to
That's
be.
what
But
I'm saying.
guess what? Just like training, and I talked about this last week.
Yeah.
Just like we got to go to the gym. We got to go to the gym to stay
Yeah.
fit. We got to read books. We got to talk to people, have meaningful conversations, because it's a lifelong process.
Yeah.
It's not just one day.
Yeah.
You climb a mountain. Okay, done climbing mountains. You got to keep doing it.
Yeah.
You don't stop.
Yeah.
It's gradual,
No,
right?
you're right. You're right.
And the biggest thing in both of those is avoidance.
Yeah.
What are you trying to avoid?
Yeah.
What are you trying to escape?
Yeah.
Right? Whether you are the scholar who wants nothing to do with those people, or you're the drunken buffoon, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, maybe you're both. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the one thing that
there's a root there, though.
I've obviously, with all the trauma that I've been through, I've started to work a lot more on myself, and one of the things that I do is I do go to group therapy, and I'm not afraid to admit that I've sought help, because I think that's empowering, and it's like the whole idea of the sheepdog needs sheepdogs.
You gotta ask for help.
Yeah, and one of the things they talk about is your nests. And nest is an acronym. Nutrition is the top one, and then exercise is the next one, and then there's an S. And the S is sleep.
Yeah.
The first S is sleep. Then the next one is time to yourself. And then there's another S, and the last one is support. And, with my profession and the things that I'm passionate about, when I first heard that, I'm like, well, nutrition's never been an issue because I'm very neurotic about it. And then it was exercise. Well, no, I'm neurotic about exercise too. I don't miss these things. So basically, people who are depressed, I guess, are missing points of this nests. Sleep. I practice good sleep hygiene. So why do I feel the way that I do? Time for myself. Meditate daily. I'm alone a lot. But the one that I didn't have, the one that I lacked the most, was support.
Right.
And unbiased, unrelenting, non-judgmental support. And that's where I think it all ties back, is like we are communal animals. And I used to joke I only have 3 friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that was a problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As I didn't have and it wasn't that
you didn't have the network.
Yeah, and when you say about raising a child, it takes a village, but we forget about that when we're adults.
Yeah, it takes an adult. It takes a village.
It takes a village, to be an adult as well.
But it's takes a village. Period.
It takes a village,
right?
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not I don't think I'm enlightened or anything like that, but I think I've just I've had the opportunity, which a lot of people don't have, to sit back and just focus 100% on myself and go to get help.
Right.
And to actively try. I know there's people who go and get help and they can't make the change, and it's not that they don't want to, it's that for whatever reason it hasn't clicked. And I think a lot of that again comes back to our words.
These 4 agreements.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's such a beautifully done book, is that impeccable word. This is even for professionals. I mean, I'm not really supposed to talk about what goes on in our group, but I'll tell you a story about what happened. There was a lady in there, and she said that she was diagnosed with clinical depression by her doctor.
Right.
And she was given medication. And then she tried the medication. She was still depressed. And she went back. There was some more tests that were run. And she went back later, and the doctor said, hey, you know what? You actually have epilepsy.
Oh. Yeah.
So he gave her some different medication. And then she was sharing. She said, and I kind of feel better. A little bit better. I don't know how the medication is going to affect me, but but I feel a bit better. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, was it the medication? Or is it the fact that when you went in there the first time, the doctor said, hey, you're clinically depressed. You are clinically depressed. So
Boom.
As soon as he said that to her,
I'm clinically depressed.
Her brain is wired to think that I'm clinically depressed. Well, why didn't I get out of bed today? Well, I'm clinically depressed.
Yeah.
Why am I crying tonight?
Right.
I'm clinically depressed. And when she went back and there was a mistake in the test or the other test, and she said, you know what, you're not clinically depressed, you're epileptic. I wonder if just by saying that, she can now say, well, I'm laying in bed, I'm not clinically depressed, I'm epileptic. So like things I need to worry about are staying away from flashing, whatever it may be. I don't know. But just like that mindset. And now it's something that I'm trying to take into my own business now with training. Is when people say,
because people make conclusions.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
People are like, oh, okay. So a lot of the parents that I work with, they'll say things like, oh, my kid has anxiety. I'm like, okay, stop.
Yeah.
Has that been diagnosed? No, not yet. Have you told them that? Yes, I did.
Yeah. But even if it is diagnosed, it's like a problem with our medical
system.
Yeah. These people are But okay, another one. I'll just give you one more example.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk over you, so
I'm sorry.
No,
it's okay.
But one of the worst ones that I deal with in the fitness industry is people will go to see their doctor after they've been non-training for a long time. Say they're a little bit older, or even if they're younger, and they have whatever. The doctor say, you have the spine of an 80-year-old. You have degenerative disc disease. You have this. Your back is 80 years old. You're 30 years old, but your back is 80 years old.
And we buy it.
You buy it. So then every time you do something...
What is that, psychosomatic? Is that what that's called?
I guess it would be...
What are those three types of pain?
We'll get that in a minute.
Okay,
I'll tell you in a minute. I want to finish this point.
Okay.
Is that say you're 65 years old and say you have your back, you have degenerative. Yeah, you're 65 years old.
Yeah.
Of course you have degenerative disc.
Yeah.
Or maybe you do labor.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course your back's degenerating. You're doing labor.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. This is what happens.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you
it doesn't mean game over.
It doesn't mean game over.
Yeah.
And they'll throw medication at you. They'll throw painkillers. They'll throw this at you. And it's again, learned helplessness. Now we're back to learned helplessness.
Yeah.
Where it's you only are able, you got to have your leave every day or else you're not going to function.
Yeah.
Right?
If I forget. And it's almost like that's a ritual.
Right? And this is where I go with Western medicine now.
Yeah.
Not all of it. I should say that there are times when you need it. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I wonder if even Tylenol, Advil, whatever, if it even does take away the pain, or is it the ritual of, oh, I have a headache, I'm gonna pop the pill bottle, take the pill, and I feel better, and then it goes away. I wonder if it's even
doing anything,
because I will talk about the different types of pain. The first type of pain is nociceptive. And nociceptive pain is basically, think of the word. Noca is pain, septive, perception. Okay. It's
perceived pain.
Yeah, it's tingling, burning, nerve pain. That's your nociceptive pain. Then we also have neuropathic pain, meaning think neuro is brain, pathic is pathology. So brain pathology. If I do deadlifts, hurt my back. So whenever I go and do deadlifts, I'm going to hurt my back.
Yeah, your brain is created to an activity.
To an activity. If I threw up my back picking up my keys, so you go to pick up your keys again, your back goes out again. That kind of stuff. It's neuropathic. It's a pathology, a pain pathology. And then the last one is neuroplastic. And you think of neuro again, brain, and plastic is the opposite of elastic. Elastic is resilient. It goes back to normal. Plastic, once it's deformed, it stays deformed. Right? So you think neuroplastic. This is the best way I've heard it described is say you drive through an intersection every day, and then one day you get in an accident at that intersection. The next time you drive through that intersection, you wince.
completely mangled.
Yeah. You wince just because I went through that intersection again, or like, you know, I saw that person again, or I saw whatever it may be. It's plastic. No matter what you do,
it's permanently that way.
That pain will be there.
Yeah. So you can't fix it.
My point, my point of view is that, you know, we talk about chronic pain. People have like these chronic pains, and usually we think it's symptomatic, meaning we throw medication in it and it'll get better. You have back pain, you take Aleve, and the back pain goes away, or whatever it may be. And these people are medication. You know, I think studies are like 1 in 4 people suffer with chronic pain, and like daily, every single day they wake up with pain. And what do we have for that person? We say, well, you know, take this medication, do this, and we have the opioid crisis is higher than it's ever been. We hand out medication. We hand out these medications like, you know,
candy.
And then when we say,
but then the subscription runs out.
And then they become dependent on that to get rid of the pain. Ritual.
Neuropathic
to get rid of the pain. Yeah. And I just think like I'm not saying lifestyle can cure everything, but I'm saying like what about what happen if you start to learn that the things that hurt you don't hurt you? What if we took you back through, you know, like what I'm trying to implement in my own training, what my belief is right now, is you see a lot of people who are dealing with physiotherapists, and they have a little orange band, and they're stuck with the orange band. You say, Rob, you got to fix your shoulder. I want you to do 10 band stretches every day.
That's it.
Don't do anything else, because you got to build that shoulder back up because it's injured. And so you get this feedback, this learned helplessness, this feedback loop that this is all I can do right now is pull the band apart.
Yeah.
Right? But what if we could find a way to give your body load again, so that we can slowly, in a range of motion, an exercise that doesn't cause you pain, even if it's a very small range, but we're just giving it load. We're loading the muscle again, or loading the joint, and saying, look, this doesn't have to hurt.
Yes.
This doesn't hurt. And then we slowly increase the range. Next thing you know, you're handling load through a full range of motion. The pain is gone.
Right.
And it didn't take medication. And I don't know. I'm sure there are situations where you do need the medication, but I think that a lot of it is not the nociceptive pain, which is the nerve pain. I think a lot of it is the neuropathic pain, or the neuroplastic pain involved.
Right.
These more not psychosomatic type pains where we're not actually experiencing them physically, we're experiencing them mentally.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, have you are you familiar with neuroplasticity?
Yeah.
Meaning that
neuroplastic.
Exactly, right? So the brain is malleable.
Yeah.
Right? It's adaptive.
Yeah.
And there's this idea of the power of belief, right? Like I heard this study, and it was National Geographic. Yeah, the water right there. Yeah, thank you. And this guy was given this drug to heal his, he had cystic fibrosis or something like that. He was given this drug, and cured it. Oh, we're almost going to run out of time here. Okay, and he cured it, right? And then it found out years later, because for this study, it was part of a study, there was a placebo and there was like the actual drug. And he was given the placebo, but it cured his like cystic fibrosis or something like that. It's the power of belief. He believed in his mind, I've been given the miracle drug. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know what your thoughts are.
No, that's really, I mean, this is something like kind of like a soapbox that I'm on right now with this whole placebo, nocebo thing, even with language, and even just saying like, you know, pain, I think even depression, anxiety, these things, you know, we say you are clinically depressed. We diagnose these people, or they say,
and that's a very,
I am clinically depressed, but I think that feelings of depression, anxiety, they're not characteristics. They're feelings, they're emotions, and they're experiences. We can experience depression, we can experience anxiety, but like they're not you. They're not a characteristic.
Sure.
And I think
I am not my anxiety. I am not my depression. I have these things.
Yeah.
Just like,
and they come and go, and they're natural. They're natural.
Part of life.
They're part of life. And for whatever evolutionary reason, we can experience these things. And we can experience them, but they are not us. And that's something that helped me get through a lot. Right. Is that when I do have these feelings of depression or anxiety or whatever it may be, I realize that's not me. I'm feeling it right now, but I can also feel other things. I can feel happy. This moment
too shall pass.
Yeah, I can feel whatever I want to feel.
Yeah,
I can feel sad. I can feel happy,
and it's okay to have those.
It's funny. Like I went to an improv show recently, and the improv people, they had to do something that scared them in every skit.
Yeah.
And
we might run out of time. So
we might have to start a new one here. Go on to round 2.
Yeah.
You'll figure it out. You did Joe Rogan. We gotta end this. It's been great.
Yeah.
It's 3 o'clock.
Yeah. Oh, look at the top. Yeah. So we continued off last time talking about mental health, and then we took a bit of a break, and we were talking about online dating.
Oh, while we're on break?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that this is kind of an interesting segue.
Yeah,
because,
let's do it.
On Joe Rogan, Bill Maher was on, and he was talking about this guy who had hooked up with this girl, and right after they had sex, he was on Tinder.
Yeah.
And it brought up the question, like, what is this insatiable appetite that we cannot seem to quell?
Yeah. I don't know.
Like, what is it?
Well, I don't know what it is.
I'm out of the game.
Well, they want to be...
Happily so.
Well, I thought I was out of the game, too.
Yeah.
Now I'm very much back in the game.
So explain it to me.
Well, I'm not an expert by any means. I assume it's something to do with the gratification or the acceptance. Like
we don't know these people.
We don't know these people, but I don't know. The whole internet dating thing to me is even like I know it's like the way that it is right now. That's how people date in 2019. But like, I have a hard time understanding how people are looking for deep connections online dating. Like, eventually, you go out with somebody, you can build these connections. But like, you're telling me that you're gonna, like, you're reading a profile and be like, well, that guy's profile or that girl's profile is like something that I can really buy into, and I really like the way that they wrote that profile. And I think I'm gonna try to build a relationship with this person. No, you're looking at their photos. You swipe through their photos, and you go to the next person, and all you care about is what they look like. And it's online dating. I don't know. Like, people want you to be like, oh, like you wonder why there's so there's so much like sex attracted to it, and it's like people are trying to hook up and stuff like that. It's based off of how people look. It's
100%. Funny story. So Jen, my now wife, fiance. Much better half. We were both on Tinder before we had met.
Yeah.
Right? We didn't meet on Tinder. We met at a bar.
Yeah.
I was absolutely hammered. And, anyways, it turned into an amazing relationship. However, we're both on Tinder. She saw my picture. She was like, nope. And then meanwhile, I was just like, I'm like, yes. Saying yes to everything. The matches I got, I was like, oh, I really didn't look at this, right? But it's interesting how for her, she saw mine and she was like, okay, this is a very, probably a very insecure looking person, right?
But you can't even, like, again, now we're going back to the 4 agreements, making assumptions. We assume about people based off of their looks,
off
or
of a
their
picture.
Photos, and it's no one's fault. It's just that's the nature of the game. It's the system. Like
right.
I don't know. It's a really weird thing that, and I'm not saying you're not going to find a deep connection, because I think online dating works for a lot of people, but it's based off of what it's, and I don't think that's news to anybody.
But exactly, like if before people, so way back when, how people met was through families, and marriages were for, you know, political gains or financial gains, right? And there was a saying, you know, love is dangerous, right? Love is very dangerous, because if you love somebody, you can be a very irrational person. Yeah. But if your marriage is based upon, you know, some sort of a, you know, it's not based out of love, it's just based out of like people, it's arranged marriage, it'll be fine. It might be loveless, but it'll be fine, right? Whereas, you know, now we come into the 20th century, and there's a lot less arranged marriages going on in Western culture, obviously. But they have always been based out of looks, I think, right? Like you see somebody at a party, your friends introduce each other. There still has to be an attraction there.
Well, yeah, it's part of it.
Right?
It's they can't, there's part of it. Like,
so really,
I don't believe that too many people are going out there and like, I don't find this person attractive whatsoever, yet I really am attracted to their soul.
I've definitely done that, and I've definitely been like, that was stupid. Because you have to be attracted to your partner.
I don't think you can, though. I don't think it's possible.
To be attracted to your partner?
No, to be attracted to just someone's like soul, or like their like you know, like, I don't know. There's a reason why we have all these senses, you know, smell, sight, touch, taste. You know, they're.
You have to be attracted to
you have
your
to
wife.
you have to. Yeah, you have to.
Okay, but hold on for a sec. So I've dated girls. Names will not be mentioned. And then afterwards, I was like, oh my, what was I thinking? Like, that person was not.
But at the time, you weren't.
At the time, I was very attracted to them. But afterwards, I look back and I'm like, that's not. I don't find that person attractive.
Yeah, you know, I was just thinking maybe that's even like some sort of like evolutionary coping mechanism that we have there. We change the chemistry in our minds.
Yeah.
You know?
Mix up their face.
It's like, there's a quote, you know, I should look it up, and it's, I don't know, you ever watch Rick and Morty?
I've heard of it, yeah.
Man,
I've seen clips,
it's the smartest show you'll ever watch.
Really?
And,
it had a huge fan following.
Yeah, it's hilarious. But
it can be dark.
It's hilarious. It's dark, it's hilarious, but it's real.
Yeah.
And Morty is in love with this girl, Jessica.
Yeah.
And, you know, Rick, he's the scientist. He says, I'm going to look it up because I need to say the quote. He's basically saying like what's going on in the brain when you fall in love with somebody.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's like a running commentary.
Yeah. And, well, no, he just says it. He just says, okay, so it's, listen, Morty, I hate to break it to you, but what people call love is just a chemical reaction that compels animals to breed. It hits hard. Then Morty, then it slowly fades, leaving you stranded in a failing marriage. I did it. Don't worry. like, whoa. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. If we think about what actually love is, people talk about the love potion, love, whatever it is. Like, there's something that goes on in your head, and you're in love with that person. You're infatuated with them. Everything that you want is there, and then afterwards, like, it slowly just goes away. It goes away. And I'm reading a book right now, The Happiness Hypothesis, and there's a section on love in there. And he talks about, Jonathan Haidt, talks about two different types of love. There's the compassionate love, and there's passionate love. And passionate love is like that like...
So heavy. It's like so intense.
It goes right off the bat.
Yeah.
You are attached to the hip. You fly off the start. It goes really, really high.
Because that dopamine in your brain.
Yeah, it's you know, you can't stay away from this person. You're
fixated.
You're fixated on that person. You love them, and then it tailors off, and then it drops fast.
Yeah,
and then the love is a lower level.
Yes,
right. But then you have compassionate love, and compassionate love is a slow burn.
Not compassionate, but calm.
No, compassionate.
Okay,
I'm just saying passionate, compassionate.
Yeah.
But compassionate love, where the love is like you still have that honeymoon phase. You're not losing that honeymoon phase. But it's like it kind of like rises, and then it kind of plateaus, and then it rises a little bit, and you think like 60 years down the road, that love is still kind of rising exponentially or like slowly, and as you get to the end, it's a high. Your peak is higher, and you
then
might
you
not
die.
have had.
And then you die.
Then you die, right? But then you have the passionate love, which the peak is very high off the start.
Yeah.
And then it drops or it maintains level, but in the same 60 years, you hit that same high level peak of love, but one is like a slow burn and one is like passion off the start. And it's like, one's a deeper connection.
Yeah.
One's a superficial connection. And I think that that's something that I'm looking for now is I want to have that compassionate love. All my relationships in my life have been based off of passion. You can call it whatever you want. It's meeting someone at a bar, meeting someone on Tinder, meeting somewhere here, there, whatever it is. You see somebody, you're attracted to them, and it's like, oh gosh, I just want to be with that person. Like it's passionate, it's fire. You know what I mean?
But can you not shift gears between them? Like I think you can be like with Jen. It's like it's been a bit of a roller coaster. She's had to work with me. Let's just say. But I feel like, there's passion in
but
there.
that's the thing.
But you shift gears, and then like the baseline is compassion.
Yeah.
Like I have so much respect for her as like especially now as like a mother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I do feel like, there's these moments. I think that you shift between them. I don't think it's just one or the other. It can be. It can be.
But I think that's the thing. That's why the word passion is in both.
Oh, yeah.
Like compassion is in both because there's compassion and there's passion.
Compound passion.
Yeah. So that passion is you still have passion in there.
Yeah.
It's not saying it's without passion. I think I've explained this before to somebody and they're like, well, I still want that honeymoon phase. I still want that puppy dog love, passion off the start.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's still part of it. But what I'm saying is I think that you build this groundwork of love, and it's I don't know, it's like your ceiling or your floor is higher. I heard a really good, really interesting point about depression is like when you start working on your life and you improve your habits, is that you're building your floor, not your ceiling. So your ceiling is how happy your mood. So like how happy you are, how sad you are.
Can you hit the ceiling?
You can hit the ceiling for sure.
Yeah.
Right. That's like the ceiling is like your absolute maximum potential for happiness or love or whatever it may be. But the floor is what you want because you're going to experience times of
right. You want to constantly be closer to the ceiling.
Well, no. The point is that like some people say, oh, I have depression. I try everything and it doesn't work.
It's really good coffee. It's really good coffee.
Tea. Yeah, we're having some English tea.
Yeah.
Fortnum and Mason.
What is it? Smoky
Earl Grey.
Wow, that's good.
It's good stuff.
Okay,
so let me finish this point.
Yeah.
The point is that yes, you're gonna have setbacks, right?
100%.
You're gonna have the times where you feel like crap, where you don't want to get out of bed, where love is not going well. But if you lay the groundwork, the floor. So when you fall down to rock bottom, your rock bottom is constantly getting higher. Your rock bottom is where. Yeah. So it's like. The make of your fitness level is not how much you can potentially push, it's your most
baseline.
It's your baseline fitness. It's your underlying fitness is what you want to, you're gonna go through roller coasters like you talked about with Jen. You're gonna have your ups, you're gonna have your downs with her. But if you lay those groundworks and that compassion that you're building with her, that she's obviously wants to build with you, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm saying is like that groundwork, that foundation. That's going to constantly slowly build. It's like you build the frame of the house, and then you build it bottom floor.
Yeah, you don't build the top.
You don't build it top down, or else the weight's going to crush the. I just came up with that. That's pretty good. But anyways, sometimes I surprise myself.
Well, that's how you come to ideas. It's conversation.
It's I think that's what I think you should be longing for is that compassionate love where you're building I always say with clients, it's like, you need to build a good foundation or else you're trying to fire a cannon from a canoe.
I love that expression.
Like,
what happens if you fire a cannon from a canoe?
It's going to explode.
You blow up the canoe.
But if you have a big ship and you fire a cannon from the ship, you can have multiple cannons in that ship. You know what I mean? How
strong is your base?
Exactly. So I always say and I think people continue there because it's one, it feels good, and two, it's you can survive there. But you don't want to survive. You want to thrive, right? Yeah. Another example I use is like, if you're teaching a kid how to read and you give them some, homework and they have the fundamentals down, you could give a child who's learning to read, you could give them War and Peace and they'd be able to like sound out the words.
8 words.
They could say the words or whatever. They could read it. They know what the words are.
Yeah.
But could they comprehend it?
No.
Probably not.
Will they enjoy it? No.
Will they enjoy it? No. But they could sound out the words.
Yeah.
They know what they are. So you could give somebody this like, this passionate love and they'll survive it.
Right.
They'll read the words. But can they actually, is it like really sinking? Is it really comprehending? That's the foundation I think you build with this compassionate style of love.
Well, for me, I mean, the reason why our relationship works is it's a friendship. You know what I mean?
Built on compassion.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Right? Oh,
but that's just it, right? It's not like, not to judge other people or anything like that, but it's not like she's not my lover. You know what I mean? Like going back to our previous podcast and language, right? It's how we talk about that other person, but how we talk about them in our minds, right?
Yeah.
Like I think she's truly just a wonderful person, right? I don't think she's the hottest chick out there. Guess what? I don't want the fucking hottest chick out there. That sounds like that's
going to
be
yourself in trouble here.
Yeah. No, but we've had this conversation, right? And you know what? I think it's part of relationships is like you could see somebody be like, that person's attractive. I know that Jen thinks Chris Hemsworth is attractive, right? My point is that this could be the most attractive person in the world physically, but it has nothing on the personality and the connection that you have with this person.
So then how do you get there? How do you get to that? The question is like, you want case, you're saying personality, right?
Yeah. It's just how we work together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But this has been like a slow burn, and it's a constant work. You know what I mean? You don't just get there.
Yeah.
Right? It's this, like, if I stop working on myself, right? If Jen stops working on herself, we can both be in a slump. And I'm not going to say that people don't plateau, right? But we work together. We encourage each other, right? Awesome. Dude, it's the best thing ever, right?
Yeah.
And you ask me how I get there. Well, people say, the grass is greener on the other side. That's a load of shit. Grass is green wherever you water it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Wherever you put in work, you're going to reap the rewards there.
Yeah, you're right. I agree with that. Evolutionary speaking, I think we're programmed to know that the grass is green on the other side.
Yeah, because we're escape artists.
Well, because at the end of the day, we're animals, and we're trying to...
Yes, and that's what I'm saying, is to say that girl is not attractive, bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, to say that, let me think of an example. Who's a really attractive lady? I honestly can't think of one.
What, you're asking me who I...
Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah. Man, good answer.
Okay.
Yeah. She's like, how old is she? 53 or something like that?
She's doing good. Man. She's doing good. She's very attractive.
I bet I'd like to make a personal connection with her.
Yeah, I'm sure she's a great person.
What about you?
Yeah. It'd be great to meet you. And anyways, my point is this: if I put in work with, okay, maybe I should be careful with what I'm saying here. But anyways, if I put in work with that person, it'd be great.
Yeah.
But if I didn't, if I just saw that person as attractive, my girlfriend, she's so hot, she's my arm candy, and I don't really put in any effort there, I'm not going to reap the real rewards. And that's what I have right now.
That's beautiful.
And why would I give that up? All this work that we've put in together. We've done counseling together. I've done counseling for myself. I know today that who I was when we first started dating is not the same person.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But I also have to take ownership in the fact of who I used to be.
Yeah.
Because if I don't, I could easily become that person again.
Yeah.
Right? That's why history is so important.
Yeah.
And my whole point here is that relationships take work. And people these days don't want to put in work.
Yeah.
Right?
Or they want to put into work.
They just want results. Now, this is what I see with the parents that I work with.
Yeah.
Nobody's taking responsibility for their kids. They want us to do everything. Us, the teachers, that only see them for 5 hours of a day.
But nobody lets their kids fail either. Like,
Totally.
I mean, this is a tough topic because you can go either way with it. But like this is, again, I always go back to this learned helplessness. I think it's really important. Is that, like, we don't let the kids, 18-year-old kids go out into the world on their own, and they've never failed before. They don't know how to fail. So when they fail, when
catastrophic.
When the breakup happens, the high school girlfriend, the sweetheart breaks up with them, it's catastrophic. It's life-ending. It's altering.
And it can be life-ending. People can commit suicide.
But it's like...
Die by suicide.
Aren't robust enough. Like in training, we talk about making people robust. If I can make you robust, you can be resilient to the things that you come into contact with. If you pick something up wrong, you're not going to blow up your back. If you stand up wrong, you're not going to blow up your back. If you have to sit in a meeting for 10 minutes, you're not going to have back pain. Like, these are the things that I deal with. I see people, and I've been there. I've been neurotic about it, where people are like, well, I got to do a perfect squat position to stand up, and then I'm going to lift my arm straight to get to the cupboard, and you're walking around like a robot because you're like, if I just move wrong, I'm going to blow up my back. And that's the wrong message we're sending.
Yes.
We should let people fail and understand that failure will not destroy you. And I think this is like for kids, this is huge, is that failure will not destroy you.
No.
You can fail as many times as possible, and the only thing that's going to come out of it is you're going to learn. You're not going to be, it's not the end. And it's the fear of rejection. It's funny how it all ties together.
Yes.
The fear of rejection, that if I fail, or I do something wrong, I'll be cast from this whatever tribe, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I had a coach when I was playing hockey, and I was going through a slump. It was completely mental. In practice, I was top player. I've always been known as a practice player because I was mentally weak when it came to playing. As soon as it
came to it.
My emotions would get the most of me. I'd choke. I couldn't perform.
Artist.
I couldn't perform in games.
Yeah.
Right. But I could perform in practice. Well, how can you?
How can
your skill level drop when you come to game? Failure. The fear of if I fail, my teammates are going to not like me. The coach is going to cut me. I'm not going to get playing time. Whatever it may be. Rejection from the team. And I remember I got traded. And and I went to a new team, and I'm talking to the reporter, the newspaper. They do like a little story about the new players. They say like, what do you describe? And I remember saying, I always want to be part of the team. I want to be a difference maker. I want to contribute. And I was like, you think back and you're like, all you want to do is be part of it. You just want to be accepted.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's what it all comes down to. Why we do all the training, all of the whatever. You want to be accepted by the team. You want to be part of the team. Why do the kids get hazed? Why do they go along with it? They want to be accepted. They don't want to be rejected by the older players. It's all. I don't know if we're onto something or what. If it's coming back to where it's all about this rejection and fear of being accepted mentality that people have, but like. Man, it's just, to me, it's like I can just see it myself so much.
And I think we're projecting that onto our kids, is that we don't want our kids to be rejected.
Yeah. That's why it's like...
think about that.
Yeah. Like... There's got to be a book there.
Dude.
You think there's a book there?
Yeah. You write it.
I'm not writing.
I don't have that.
I heard the worst thing that you can do for your health is write a book.
Really?
I've listened to people who've written books, because you're not writing a book to make money, because by the time you get your royalty checks from the books, you're not making money. So it's not you're writing because you have an idea or a message to give to the world.
What's the best way to convey a message then?
I don't know. The best way to convey a message is the way that your audience receives it, and that's individual.
Right.
So I deal with this with athletes when I work with athletes, is that you have 25 different different individuals in the room. Some of them want attention, some of them don't want attention. Some of them need to be coddled, and some of them need to be pressured.
Everybody's different.
Everyone has different mentalities, and is going to approach something, is going to learn differently. And if you can't this is what makes a coach. See, we're going to go off on another tangent here because this is something I really believe in, but we know the fitness thing. We know, like, if you talk to me or another strength coach or another strength coach or another strength coach, we know how many sets and reps to do. We know the exercises to do.
For muscular growth, muscular toning.
People will argue about it.
I think go on.
People will argue about it here and there, but what we don't know is how to get through to all those, to communicate better.
But we want to be innovative.
Yeah.
We know the formula.
Yeah.
But then we try to make it.
Yeah. We're not answering the right question. The right question is not what the best formula for training is. The right question is, what is the best way to get through to the individual and to treat that person like they're an individual? Because right now, all they feel about is they're part of a team. I used to say that I think every kid should play two sports. One where they're like a solo sport, like tennis or like jiu-jitsu or some sort of sport where there's no team. Yeah. And then they should play a team sport, because I feel like some athletes in part of a team setting, they fall under, like they fall in line. Like they don't have a chance to lead, to do things for themselves. I used to think that you needed to have two of those sports. Because you can't hide when you're an individual. Yeah. Like
tennis.
If you're at a
boxing.
Yeah. You can't hide. It's you and the other guy.
It's all on you.
On a team, you can hide. You can be like, the 7th defenseman or the 13th forward or whatever it is. And if your team does well or does bad, you don't really turn the needle very much. Yes. But individually, if you want to be successful individually, you win or you lose the game. Exactly. So like I used to say that, but I think that that's the wrong message. The right message is that we just need to understand each individual more to allow that person to show that within a team setting.
Which is so difficult because, if you're something like this, say you're just, you're talking and you have a very broad audience, right? Each individual hears something differently. Yeah. Right? If you release a book, you publish a book, everybody who reads that book, they're each individuals and they're going to comprehend it differently. Yeah. Even going back to War and Peace, you know what I mean? Or a painting. Art is pretty interesting. You look at this painting and some art is pretty ridiculous, mind you, but you look at this painting and you're like,
to your eye.
Sure. Yeah.
But to other people.
Fair enough. Yeah. And that's art, and art doesn't give a shit what I think. Yeah. You know what I mean? Anyways. But one person can look at it and see, oh, this is like a forest. Another person could look and see and say that's like a river. I don't know. My point is that everybody is entitled to their interpretation.
Yeah. And do you know, have you heard the story about the Bricklayers?
No.
Okay.
Maybe I have. But
there's a story of these three bricklayers. Yeah. I'll probably butcher this one to you. I'm not very good at remembering these verbatim, but you're walking along, you see the first bricklayer. You say, well, what are you doing? Yeah. He says, well, I'm laying bricks. Yeah. And you're like, okay. Like, is that what you do? He says, yeah, I lay bricks. Yeah. You walk along, you see another bricklayer. You say, hey, what are you doing? He says, I'm building this building. Yeah. I'm putting bricks down. I'm making this building. Right. You go to the third bricklayer and you say, what are you building? He says, I'm building a temple for God. Building a church. Building a temple for God. Right. They're all working on the same building. That's the thing. This thing, one person perceives their job, their what they're doing as, I'm just laying bricks. I'm just laying bricks. Okay. One person perceives that same job as, I'm making a building. I'm part of a bigger plan. But then one person perceives that same job, the same job that the first guy and the second guy were doing, he perceives it as, I'm building a temple for God. Yeah. I have purpose, like that, and who do you think the happiest one is?
The one building the temple for God.
The one who says, I am making a difference. I am building.
Dude, have you ever heard the story of the flight of the hummingbird?
I haven't.
Oh my!
I'll look into it.
Okay, check this out.
Check it out.
So there's this forest fire that's raging, and all these animals are running away. The bear, everything. Yeah. They're like, we're out. But there's this hummingbird that keeps flying over into the fire, and they're like, dude, what are you doing? And the hummingbird is taking a drop of water and dropping it on the fire, and the hummingbird says, I'm doing what I can.
Wow.
It's amazing.
That's powerful.
It's amazing.
I love that.
Yeah.
I really love that.
And that's what that hummingbird can do. It's doing the best that it can.
Yeah.
Right?
And again, what is the fourth agreement? Doing your best.
Doing your best. Doing your best. Yeah. Yeah. It ties in.
It ties in with everything.
And I think that the reason that everything ties in is because we're at that point and we want to bring everything in. Because human beings strive to find purpose.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if it's meaningless, how can we be happy?
Yeah.
Like if you ask somebody, and I am going on a tangent here, like, what do you think happens after we die? Well, that's it. You die. It's game over. You ask somebody else, I think we go to this wonderful place and, da-da-da-da-da. Who do you think is a happier person?
Well, yeah. Obviously, the person who thinks that, yeah.
Does either of them know what actually happens after you die?
No. And, I think Joe Rogan says it best. If someone tells you what happens after they die, you say, you're lying to me. No, you don't.
Because you're alive.
Yeah, you're alive. You have no idea what happens. You can't tell me that how I live my life will affect my afterlife because you don't know. At some level, you're just making a guess. You can listen to books.
Occam's razor.
You can listen to books. You can listen to the Bible. You can listen to whatever it is. You just don't know. Whatever you believe is what you believe, but you don't know.
And I think that when we die, that's what we create.
But I think and I agree with Joe, is that even though you might not know what the afterlife is, if you take some of the rules from the Bible or you take some of the rules from this and you live your life in a way where you respect other people, you treat people how you want to be treated.
How is that a bad
thing? You're going to have it's not a bad thing.
How is that a bad thing?
You're not.
Exactly. Yeah. It has had a positive effect.
And
right?
Even if it results in not going to an afterlife or going to an afterlife, doesn't matter.
The problem that I have with religion, and there is a difference between religion and faith, right? Faith I see as a relationship between you and the thing that you believe in.
Yeah.
Be it God, be it, whatever it may be. It's your relationship with them, not based on other people's relationship with the same thing. Whereas religion to me is a set of rules that are used to kind of control, right, people. Yeah. Right, to kind of almost indoctrinate them in a certain way. And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying that that's what it's there for. Yeah. And my problem with, religion is saying things like, gays are going to go to hell.
Yeah.
Okay, so stop. If God is a loving person, why would he do that? If you don't accept Jesus, you're going to go to hell. Well, but Jesus wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's lots of wonderful people that aren't Christians, and there's lots of terrible people that are Christians.
Well, that's kind of goes back to the story of Simon and Marley that we talked about before.
Yeah, that's Simon.
Simon.
Yeah.
Simon.
Do you know what simony is? There's a thing in
no.
Simony is something. It's when, look this up, but it's when somebody sells church property.
Oh, interesting.
For money. Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting.
Simony is, anyways. So tangent.
But it's another full podcast. They're talking about like religion and faith and stuff like that.
100%. Yeah.
But
that's my biggest struggle.
I'm not like a bro. What do they call him? A bro Jogan? Somebody who like is like big into Joe Rogan. But I think that what I do appreciate about him is some of the things his mindset on some of these things. And I think like he always says like if there's 3 people in the world, we'd probably all be pretty happy. Like if there's 3 of us, we'd probably all I'd be happy, you'd be happy, whatever. We'd be happy. But like collectively, due to whatever reason, religion, whatever it may be, like we have these we can't agree on things. Too many people can't agree on the same thing. But like
we all have something in common.
Yeah, we all have something in
We're
common.
born and we die.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, in between,
yeah,
we have to find all these differences. We're all going to pass.
Yeah.
Why can't we find connection in
I don't know. Because I think everyone is trying to do it their own way. Which is part of it. That's what everyone's going to do it their own way.
But then why can't we do it our own way? Why do we have to judge others? Why do we have to?
I don't know. I don't know why we have to.
I think it again.
But I'm saying like you can try not to. You can try not. You can, and that's why.
But I can't.
But man, you gotta do your best. Like
right.
this is like why I have on my phone screen I have the 4 agreements written out. My lock screen.
See.
So every time I look at my phone, the 4 agreements pop up.
Yeah. You know what I did? That's actually what is your intent? What is your intention?
Man. So we'll talk. If you want to talk about this quickly, I picked this up from reading High Performance Habits. There's a book by Brendan Bouchard.
Yeah.
And one of his things that he tells us to do is that whenever you go into a meeting, whenever you go into a relationship, is take the time to develop what's your intention with this person. And I actually use it as part of my journaling practice. Is I think of 3 people who I'm going to come into contact with that day. Or if I'm not going to come into contact with 3 people that day, I'll just put somebody else in my life. And I'll pick out 3 phrases really for each person. What are my intentions with that person?
Mm.
So like with you, Rob, I've written you in my journal.
Okay.
As part of my intention.
Yeah.
And my intention for you is friendship.
Yeah.
It's active listening, and it's empathy.
Mm.
And go back to those 3 things. It's like I can show you friendship, right? If I can show you active listening, meaning I'm not.
These are your goals.
I'm not talking over you. I'm hearing you out with the intention of like I'm not ready to jump onto my next point. Yeah. I want to hear your point and understand it.
Yeah.
And then the 3rd one is empathy. I know that you've been through a lot, and I know that and I want to resonate with the fact. I want to understand that you've been through a lot and what you're going through now. And if I feel like I make those goals, I just approach my conversation with you with those. And I do that with everybody. So some people, it's business. Sometimes it'll be like, I approach you with honesty. I approach you with firmness. I approach you with like, it doesn't have to be one word. It could be like sentences.
Yeah.
Like my intention for our meeting today is this. And it could be like, making eye contact.
Yeah.
That could be my intention.
Right.
Or it could be, I want to give you physical touch.
Yeah.
Like not like sexual or anything like that. I want to give you physical touch.
Go for it.
Yeah. Twist my rubber arm. But no, like it could be that I want to make that a deeper connection with you.
Right.
Or it could be like I want to ask these questions, and it's just my intention. So that if I get those things done, I'm not thinking about what do I say next, right?
Yeah.
I approach a date. Approach it if now that I'm single again. If I'm
you're going to see this person today.
I know I'm going to see this person today. Yeah. So I approach it. I say, I want to be interested.
And you're going to show
interest.
people.
I want to demonstrate interest.
Yes.
I want to demonstrate interest. I want to demonstrate empathy. I want to understand what their pains are and acknowledge them. And the other one is I want to be present. I think we have a huge problem with not being present. Being where your feet are. I heard someone say that. They're writing a book. I can't wait for it to come out. Be where your feet are. Right? I'm in the room with you. My feet are in the room with you. If I go on my phone, I'm not in the room with you anymore. I'm not where my feet are. Be where my feet are. My feet are pointing at you. My toes are pointing at you right now. I'm talking. I'm having a conversation with you.
Yeah.
I'm not having a conversation with anyone else. So I don't care what comes up on my phone right now. I don't care what anything else is around me. I'm being present with you. And that's respect. And I've recently been out with somebody who was on their phone during the time.
Yeah.
I think we talked about it on the podcast, making assumptions.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm like, where are you right now? Like, we're out having, where are you? Where's your mind? Are you with me? Because I'm with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think that, do you think that we believe we can be in different places at the same time? Because that's what I think the whole phone thing is. That we can be, I can be in a conversation.
I mean, physically we can, but I don't think we can be mentally or emotionally.
Yeah. But that's why when I'm writing an email and somebody comes into the room and they're like talking to me, it's like, okay, can you let me finish this?
Your brain only has so much bandwidth.
100%.
You cannot devote yourself to a text message while someone else is talking. I think that
I can only do one thing at a time.
This is what we're lacking in our. And this is what I picture of building these compassionate relationships, these deeper connections with a smaller amount of people, is that you're creating these connections with somebody. It's I don't know. It's almost like it's beautiful. Like when you're like, how you actually connect with somebody. I don't know. you have like, you connect on a level that's so much different than like the superficial ones. You know, how many times have you said, "How are you doing?" to somebody?
Good.
Do you care? Do you care how they're doing?
You know, it's funny though when you ask that, they're like, "Oh man, I'm having." You're like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!"
Yeah, I
whoa,
didn't want that. I didn't want that. I didn't want that.
I mean, oh, good. Yeah.
You know, and I've been through it. With the trauma I've been through. I greet at my church. I stand at the doorway and I greet everybody who comes in at my church. You know, there's like 800 people that come.
That's probably a really good thing for you to do.
It's good, but you say, "Oh, how you doing?" "Good. How are you?" But really, it's like, no, my dad just passed away. You know, I'm not talking to my relationship with my mom's, my fiance and I are no longer together. Like, I don't say these things to those people.
Yeah.
But they still ask me, "How you doing?" And I say, "Good."
Yeah. It's like hot potato. It's like if you feel hot, you're like, "Holy shit!" Right?
So it's like, do we ever make those, like, that's so superficial? Do we ever make those deep connections? And how many deep connections do you have?
Do you? And sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I don't really have anything else to say about it. It's just, I just think that, like, you know, it's just, these are the things I'm thinking about right now, and maybe, like I said, like maybe it's coming from the reading I'm doing and like putting emphasis on like trying to understand things and like readers or leaders type thing, but I just feel like, you know, these deep connections, we're lacking these deep connections with people, like, in our lives, and even our spouses we don't have a deep connection with, and it's like, what is it then? It's just like a superficial relationship that you guys say you're in love. You know, I honestly thought I was in love. Maybe I wasn't. I don't know. What do
you think?
I want to say I was. I felt like I was. You know, I did all the things that you're supposed to do, but obviously the love wasn't there, right? Because and I can't say what mistakes I made. I did make mistakes. You know, there were. I don't know when it started to happen, but like at some point the love ended. If it didn't end, we'd still be together, right?
Right.
That's what I believe, and for whatever reason it is that caused that love to stop, but you know, it's the deep connections that we're striving for, but we tell ourselves that our connections are deep, yet we don't make them deep.
So on this,
yeah,
this person that this fell apart, do you think that you honestly had a quality connection with this person?
Well, the more you think about it, maybe you don't. Maybe you didn't. Maybe it was based on passion. This is what I'm thinking about.
Well, what do you think?
I think maybe it was based on passion. I think there was a lot of passion. But like, and maybe you don't know what love is, but you think that you're showing it by like doing the, you know, grand gestures of romance and like things like that, but you're missing the foundation. You're just firing the cannon. You know, you plan like a weekend away. That's a cannon. That's a big cannon, and you don't have the foundation there, so you sink.
Dude, you just made me think of something.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna go out on this romantic. We don't talk at all for months, but we're gonna set this date aside. We're gonna go and we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
You know, we're gonna go away to Whistler,
Yeah.
and then you guys just getting in fights the whole time, or you're getting drunk. I know that's not your thing, but
whatever. I understand what you're saying.
But you're so right. Like, there's a huge difference between quality and quantity.
Yeah.
Right? And the people that, you know, like, oh yeah, he's my best friend. Okay, well, cool. Why is he your best friend? Well, I've known him the longest. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But is that synonymous with, you know, you've known him, knowing somebody the longest versus knowing somebody the best?
Yeah.
There's a chasm of difference.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, I have a lot of older friends that I love them. They're amazing people. But it's a little bit superficial.
Yeah.
Whereas like the people that it's like now I like you, I want these deeper kind of, let's really talk.
Yeah.
Funny thing is, like, I've decided to do this because honestly, you've motivated me so much. No.
No, man, it means a lot to me.
Like, when you gave me that book, you like, I'm not gonna lie. When I did my master's, I was in such a slump. I was like, dude, I hated it. You should not hate bettering yourself.
No.
And hate's a strong word, but it was such a slog for me.
Yeah.
And I just given up. I just played video games. Then you came back, and before that I was listening to Joe Rogan. And I'm like, again, not to be a bro Joe or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just like, so much of my time I've invested in caring about things that don't really affect or matter to me. It's so superficial.
Yeah.
And now I'm doing something where it's like, hey, I want to do this podcast. I want to get my private counseling license.
Yeah.
I want to start writing again. I want to read more. I want to be better.
Yeah, man.
And so I told this to somebody, and he's like, dude, I'm on board. But then he told somebody, and he was like, man, like, I told this to a friend, and he said, what are you doing? You're doing a podcast? That's what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
And it really hurt his feelings.
But somebody like I talk about, somebody who's below you will never, you only get insults from somebody who's not achieved that level yet.
But here's the funny thing. That same guy who said that is doing jiu-jitsu. He's doing what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
you know what's funny? I heard there's something to do with like men and like the animalistic of like control with jiu-jitsu. Yeah.
oh,
It's like the idea of like you're controlling another human. That's like what the draw. That's what like the psychological draw to jiu-jitsu is. Like
really?
Being like in control.
So they're all sick bastards.
Or they're just.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's just an interesting thought that like I heard that.
We're already at 45 minutes.
Yeah, I gotta go.
Okay.
Let's go. I gotta get to the gym.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
That was great.
Great talking.
Thank you. We'll do another one. Okay, you take care.
We'll just do
All right. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Have a good day.